Hey guys, so I just finished editing the entire video. I don't know why that was like louder than normal, but I just finished editing the entire video. Editing the entire video, all right? And this is basically like, I don't want to say and I told you so, but it's proven me right. You're gonna hear me repeat that a lot in this video, okay? But the general consensus that I want you guys to understand when watching this video is that I understand some of you guys kind of just don't care. It's not okay. It's really not okay to not care, but I can't force you to care, okay? So what I'm talking about in this video and what I'm talking about in a lot of different videos as of late is basically this relationship that exists but isn't spoken about. I've been in the space for what, 2-3 years, something like that, and I've just watched. I've been silent. I've spoken about this with other creators, whatever the case may be. A lot of the rants that you guys hear me talking about is literally how to make the space better. Now in this video in particular, I really just care about the Zenless space, but you could apply this to anything. I want you guys to understand that there is a pivotal relationship between the content creator and the viewer, and until that gets mended or fixed or whatever the case may be, like once everyone is on the same page, the community is not going to get any better. Right now there is no Zenless community. I understand that people think that's what it is. There is no Zenless community because like this relationship between creator and viewer doesn't exist. And then from that point, there's also the creator relationship with the developer and the viewer or player relationship with the developer. And all three of those need to somehow come together, but they're currently not. So when I made that previous video talking about like Zenless isn't the issue we are, that's like 2 out of 3 issues. The third issue obviously being the developer. We're here now. We're like, everything that I talk about in this video proves that. Anyway, this is long enough. I just really needed that disclaimer in the beginning because I just finished editing everything, and I'm like, wow, if somebody were to listen to this, it really does come off as like, would they care? They should, but I don't know if they understand how important that is. So now we here. Enjoy the rest of the video, or don't. So the other day, or at this point it's not the other day, it's like a week or 2 ago, I made a couple videos, like a string of videos. Now these videos are from like a month to 2 months back. Whenever DreamHack was, that's when these videos were created on stream, but they didn't release until about a week or 2 weeks later, just because I had a lot of other stuff going on, right? Some of the videos that I talked about, it's a string of them, but one of the ones that I want to mention was me going over kind of like the issues with the gacha community. And then even further than that, right? Like I kind of like dive deeper into it in a separate video, was the current tribalism and the issues behind the tribalism, specifically in the Zenless Zone Zero community. And the reason I brought that up was solely because the tribalism, if you were to compare the tribalism to something like Genshin Impact, the tribalism that exists in Genshin Impact is completely different than the tribalism that exists in not just Zenless Zone Zero, but also in Wuthering Waves, and at one point Honkai Star Rail. Star Rail doesn't have it as much anymore because the creator, like the creators have diminished drastically for like who makes content for Star Rail, right? Like, but that's a whole different conversation. Point being is that it's different, and it's not a good difference. So I went on to explain why that difference was bad, like why the tribalism or the community that we have for ZZZ right now isn't good, despite the community thinking that it's the best thing in the world or that it's great. It's actually not, and it's doing more harm to creators than it is doing good, but they don't see it that way. So I went on and I explained it. You guys can see the video. I'll link it up here in the little bubble or something like that, or the bubble over here, right? But I went on to explain it. I talked about it. I provided like proof or resources or evidence, whatever, just things to lead a person to like, hey, I want to know more about this. How would I do the research on my own? And I pointed out, here's how you can look this kind of stuff up. These are the things that you want to look out for. You know, here are the points of reference, or these are the metrics that you're looking for, whatever, right? So the other day I got sent a Reddit thread. I'm not really gonna go through this Reddit thread because I don't care. I don't care enough. I saw it as soon as it got posted, maybe like an hour or so. It was very early on. Obviously Reddit, it's gotten a little more popular now, but these are the string of videos that I was talking about, right? Like this whole little 3-ish weeks or so, or 4, like, yeah, a whole month, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something around there, like 12 different videos, or 4, 4, 8, 12, around these 12 different videos, right? Boom. So someone sent me this, right? So I go on to look at this, and I'm only gonna read it from here, and then you guys kind of like, if you want it, like I said, y'all can go look at it. I'm not really here to look at it or whatever, because it proves my point about the community to a T. Not the creators, the community, right? Now, mind you, keep in mind the Reddit community, even though I don't like Reddit is another version of Twitter. They're both bad. They're both cesspools. And the people that dwell on it are always on it. This guy Axel says, ZZZ content creators, anyone know any good ZZZ content creators? I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right here. All right. And this could be that Axel might not be a part of, or maybe he might be new, might be a new person entering the community. So I don't want this to come off as like a how dare you not know, right? But why I'm saying that is because, again, in one of these videos, I don't remember specifically which one it is, because I talk about the topic a lot throughout this month of videos, right? Because it's important to me. But in at least two of these videos, I know for a fact it's more than two, but at least two of these videos, more than likely this one here, I specifically talk about why labeling creators and like how this is my favorite creator, fuck these other creators. This is my favorite creator. I like them for this, fuck these other creators. Oh, I don't watch creators for this thing, but I watch them for that. But I really wish that my favorite creator would make the content that these other creators make, but I don't like those creators. So we don't have that type of content. I talked about why that was so detrimental to the health of the space overall. So we get over here, right? Anyone know any good Zenless content creators? Boom. Every content creator in the Zenless space is good. If they make content for Zenless Zone Zero, they're good. I can't think of a bad Zenless content creator. So like that question alone is already off-putting, because there's not a bad one. There's either you vibe with the content they put out, or they make content for you, or they make content that's not for you. What's a good example of that? A lot of people see me as someone who's very player blamey, but in reality, even if I am player blamey, when you listen to what I'm saying, you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth and you hear the explanations behind it. People are upset that I'm blaming the player, but they're not listening to what I'm saying. Just for me to have this same conversation with somebody else, a different content creator, or for another content creator to repeat the same thing that I'm saying, but because it comes from someone else, I don't know why I cracked right there, because it comes from someone else, all of a sudden it's all understood. I'm gonna bring up something just to reference it real quick so that I have like a very fresh example of what I'm talking about. Everyone that watches me knows that I'm like the fighting game guy. What's the thing that fighting games have? Everything has it. But the thing that I brought from fighting games over to Zenless, I'm the first person to have introduced that to the space. I introduced it to my friends first, and then I introduced it to the space. Matchups, right? Boom. Kate recently released a video explaining matchups and why matchups were oftentimes more important than the element. I talked about this back during the summer. I talked about it prior to the summer, well before then. I put all this information out there just to be met with at the time. We don't want your fighting game terminology over here. Why are you talking about this? Zenless has nothing to do with fighting games. Matchups exist everywhere. That's not exclusive to fighting games. Zenless doesn't have matchups. The characters are much more important. The shield buffs are much more important. Blah, 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 blah. Kate puts out this video recently. Great video, good explanation. And now all of a sudden, wow, matchups are really important. Damn, if only we had content about the matchups. Kate, please talk more about matchups. I had no idea matchups were a thing. Are we like, am I pulling the wool over your eye? Like, come on, what are we doing, right? It's not about us. It's not about the content itself. It's about whether or not you like the person creating the content. So I know I'm harping on this one question because this one question is off-putting as fuck. Are there any good Zenless? All of them are good. All of them are good. So, and yeah, no, Bronto, that's fine. It's okay to not like me. I say it all the time. It's a-okay to not like me. You don't have to like me. Credit me. This isn't in regards to Kate. I'm just saying, right? In regards to the community as a whole, why am I the way I am? Why is EO an asshole? Because I'm constantly being discredited for the sake of somebody just not liking me. I'm constantly being lied on for the sake of somebody just not liking me. I don't do that to nobody. That's my whole thing. I don't even like everybody. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't like people like that. So I don't like a lot of people. I'm not going to discredit them because I don't like them. Y'all hear it all the time. Oh man, you know, this person does drama and blah, 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 blah. That person's smart as fuck. Business wise, this person is smart as fuck. I don't like what they're doing, but what they're doing is successful. You cannot like the game, but you can't knock them being smart about it. Boom, there we go. So now let's continue on, right? The guy says, I kind of just watched Fake Matthew, which I didn't know who that was. I learned a lot more about there are a lot of other creators that just aren't mainstream. Which is like, again, proving my point, but I'll continue. Watches Fake Matthew, does crazy stuff like DPS Sokaku and Yojimbo. We know Yojimbo. Doing insane Billy runs and making interesting videos about the game. Yojimbo is not the only one that makes interesting videos about the game. You see what I'm saying? It's just that you haven't liked or come across others that do that. What up, Nate? How you doing? But that aside, most of the big YouTubers are just marketing slaves who clickbait and overhype stuff whenever a new agent releases. I'm going to harp on this for a slight moment so that people understand this is a separation between the creator relationship and the viewer relationship, and it bothers me so much because everyone always like tries to talk about this as if they know things and they don't. A whole video ago, actually it's multiple videos ago, which one was it actually? A whole stream, we talked about this for like 2 hours. I explained the entire thing to you guys. It might be this one here because I see it's an hour. The gacha community is struggling, but not for the reasons that you think. Somewhere in this video, more than likely, I talked about it. If it wasn't in this video, it's in why the gacha scene will keep losing content creators somewhere, right? But I talked about it. What am I talking about? I went on to explain the differences between the viewer relation and the creator relations and why like not one or the other, both are so important to have. And to understand one, you have to understand the other. As a viewer, there are things that you have to understand, regardless of whether or not you like that creator. There are things you have to understand. One of the key things that I talked about that all of us can see with your big bulging white eyes, right? Everyone can see this. I don't like the bigger YouTubers because they clickbait and overhype stuff. I don't like drama content, bad. Drama slop, bad. It is the most watched content on the platform within, you know, that space, right? It is the most sought after content on the platform. There are tons of creators. We don't have tons. There's a handful of creators who make content that are not, as this would be put, marketing slaves who clickbait and overhype new characters and new agents. Cool. Yet you don't know who they are. The fact that he's asking or they're asking this question, wow. The fact that they're asking this question about where the good content creators who don't do these things, again, proves my point. They exist. They're everywhere. All of us make this type of content, but you don't watch it. You not engaging with it, you not watching it is what starts the downfall of, as my video says, right? Gacha community struggling. DZZ isn't the problem. We are as a community, right? Nate, chill. Question. But yeah, it's kind of like that, right? So again, hammering in on that point, we have even more examples that they're using. Yuzu is not good for Miyabi. Pull this character now and win the game. Why you should build X agent, so on and so forth. This is YouTube 101. You can't hate a YouTuber. You can't dislike a YouTuber for playing the game. Because why? You guys don't click the other shit. You don't. Let's just keep a buck, right? Like I hate viewers that act like they're above the game of YouTube. I hate it. I can't stand it because you're lying. I could go through any single viewer's analytics or their viewer metrics, whatever. I could go through every one of them and prove that they're lying because you watch it. The moment you could watch 30 seconds of drama slop, and it's gonna, the next thing that you look at on your home recommended feed will be drama slop. The moment you click on a video, despite you not liking the overhyped content or whatever it is, the moment you click on clickbait, that tells YouTube, damn, this works. Yeah, make more of this shit. Put more of this shit out. That tells the creator, damn, this works. Yeah, make more of this. Put more of this shit out. When a creator makes a video and it says Yuzuha is not good for Miyabi, which I don't know who the fuck made that. I don't think it's a real title, but still, right? If it was a real title and it worked, let's just say that the creator has a 5.4 CTR, right? It's 5.4 times their normal or average CTR. If they made a title that says Yuzu is not good for Miyabi. So their average viewer count on like per video would be, I don't know, 1.7 thousand views on average per video. But this specific video about Yuzu not being good for Miyabi was 5.4 times that. And now they're getting 5 to 9,000 views, right? This tells YouTube this is an outlier. This also tells that content creator, this is good. Make more of this because this got a lot of attention. Positive or negative never matters. Oh, let's go and hate farm. Let's downvote this guy so that it tells everyone this video is bad. Never matters. YouTube doesn't care if it's good or disliked or liked more than the other. Actively engaging with it, period, tells YouTube good video. Lots of community members engage with video. Make more video. Promote this video to other people outside of the target audience. YouTuber get big. That is what it tells them. So it encourages and incentivizes the creator to make more of this. I'm constantly trying to explain to the community so they understand what to do as a viewer and what to do with creators that you either support or don't support, or whatever the case may be, and ultimately how to better the space. Whatever space you decide to engage in, doesn't matter if it's Zenless, doesn't matter if it's gacha, doesn't matter if it's Overwatch. Whatever space you decide to engage in, you have a lot more control as a viewer than you think. And lying to yourself for Reddit likes or Twitter clout coins, whatever the case may be, doesn't do anything besides tell the creator, one, you're not to be trusted, and two, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. And that's okay to a degree. Normally it's not okay. I don't know why I just lied to you guys right there. Anyway, they go on to say after that, most sites aren't helpful. Game 8 sucks, and Pride Win is only useful if you're looking at a general feel of who's really strong at the moment. This also is wrong. How many videos do all of the creators have talking about why Pride Win is inaccurate per patch about what's really strong at the moment? So that's like, but you would know that if you watch the quote unquote marketing slaves who clickbait and overhype stuff. I then proceed, right, to just look at this. They're looking for any good content creators who don't do these things. What happens? All of the comments proceed to give them recommendations of the main creators that we in the Zenless space know who they are, that do those things. You can't name anyone that doesn't do them because it doesn't exist. They all do it. Even the smaller creators, who understand how content works, eventually start doing those things because that is what works. You can't be an outlier in a community of sheep or drones. And this isn't calling like the Zenless community sheep. I'm using this reference so that people understand if the entire flock is moving in one direction and then one person decides, I'm gonna be different, I'm gonna go over here. You can't expect the flock to turn around and then follow you, the sole person doing something different, because they're not even looking at you to begin with. It shouldn't be this hard to understand, but it is. And it proved my point. I'll give you guys a link here. If, like I said, if y'all want to like do it for yourselves. I'm not on Reddit. That's why you see I don't even have like an account over here. Like obviously I have an account on Reddit, but I don't log in. I don't engage on Reddit because fuck that. Fuck that. I want no parts of it, right? Reddit is a cesspool, not good for your mental at all. Not a healthy spot. But you guys get what I'm saying, right? It proved my point to a T. And yes, Reddit, as I said earlier, Reddit is not yo King, don't call me out like that. Reddit is not a place that is a total representative, right, or representation of the entire Zenless community, obviously. But I'm saying this in a sense that these are a number of people, however many impressions that thread has, that's how many people consume Zenless content or don't consume Zenless content. Some of the comments in there actually surprised me. Some of them were saying that they don't watch Zenless content creators anymore because there's no Zenless content creators that help them in the game. And it wasn't like, oh, I need help beating the game. It was the opposite. They were like, I'm so confident in my ability to clear because I consistently clear everything in the game that I just don't need to watch their content. And that really brought a different perspective to me because it's like, wow, is it now at a point where players are understanding more or less what to do in the game to clear? Or is it one of those things where like, I only care about like enjoying the game, right? Not engaging with the community online and then clearing whatever I got. This helped my, not my point, but the concern and question that I had about the Zenless space or just gacha space as a whole. Is it getting to a point now where the interest in consuming gacha content is at a low, but the player count is higher. Remember, guys, I talked about that, right? I said the player count is going up. Even some people were trying to challenge me on that. And I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck if StarRail is losing 2 players a month, right? The player count is going up. The interest is going down. The interest to consume content is going down. And I think that might be a testament to that, right? Where players are just kind of like, I'll do whatever I want. So I don't know. Ultimately though, right? Moral, I guess it's not really moral. I already talked about the moral, but ultimately finishing off this entire thing about like, yo, this thing just kind of proved my point without me going through it. I want to finish this off on a slightly more positive note where we're talking about this. Again, every content creator that I'm aware of when it comes to Zenless Zone Zero is a good content creator because they're doing something that most people don't do, which is putting themselves out there, making the content and doing something that they genuinely do not have to do. I don't have to put out my crackpot theories, right? Or my think pieces or explain things or talk about whatever or show off more to the game that doesn't exist. What up, Loki? How you doing today? Kate doesn't have to do account reviews and help anybody. He could just be on his own doing his own thing, right? ALG doesn't have to help anybody, but like we're choosing to do these things. It's a matter of perspective that I think a lot of the viewers take they take for granted that a content creator or someone, you know, stepping out of their comfort zone to make content to quote unquote help the community or just for themselves. It's not always one of those things where like this is magically a brand new person. It's like the viewers treat, especially in the gacha space, they treat content creators as these completely separate entities that just aren't human. And it rubs me the wrong way, and I don't understand why it's so common to do that, right? To speak to another human as if they're lesser than because they do something that you don't do. It just blows my mind. If and when, hopefully when, the community gets to a point where they're more accepting of these things and they understand that pivotal viewer to creator, and then the third being the developer, right? When you understand that relationship and how it's one big circle, it all just loops, the community will grow in a much more healthy space. That might just be it. Engage more. I think that would be like the final thing that I talk about is literally just engage more. I get it. You know, everyone has their favorite content creators, this, that, and the third. You can't like, how do I put it? I'll use myself as an example because it's my video. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Completely understandable. That doesn't detract from the content that I provide, especially when the content that I provide is so contagious. The content that I provide, the takes that I make is so contagious that it gets around the entire Zenless community. So it's one of those things where like, you might not like EO or you might not vibe with EO's content, which is totally understandable, but that doesn't make EO a lesser than or bad content creator. You might not vibe with Arcado or ALG or Rezi, right? Or even R2. Oh man, R2 is so good at the game. I'll never be that good, so I can't watch his content. That doesn't derail R2 or derail you from sharing R2's content or engaging with R2's content or anything of the sort, right? It's because it's like that concept, again, I really do feel like and I'll always say this, until it changes, I'll always say this. The gacha community minus Genshin Impact's community fails to understand what the word community actually stands for. And until they figure that the fuck out, it's not gonna get any better. Right now, everyone has, as far as creators go, everyone has their community. Kate has his community. I have my community. ALG has his community. Arcado has his community. Panda has his community. So, excuse me, Soul has his community. So on and so forth, right down the list. Flossin has his community. Josh has his community. Age has her community, right? BB has her community. Everyone has their community, but it's not one big ass Zenless community. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not one big Zenless community and then everyone has creators that are all a part of the community that like everyone is aware of and like shares and engages with, right? No, it's I'm a part of this community. I'm a part of this community. I'm a part of this community. We all happen to play the same game though. The reason I say Genshin isn't like that, despite people's like, oh man, Genshin's bad. I hate Genshin. Ooh, what better? Zenless better. Personal bias doesn't matter. Like, I'm literally looking at facts. The Genshin community is currently the only gacha community that builds up instead of tears down. Everyone else tears down. And when I say that, I mean like, obviously you build up who you like, but then they tear down who they don't like for personal reasons. That doesn't exist in the Genshin community. And by more recent, I'd say like this year, after like June-ish, the Starro community is like that as well, where they build up and they don't tear down, right? And that's a big difference. And I really do wish people would understand that. It's not about supporting someone that you hate or despise or whatever. It's about not going out of your way to tear down. If a creator is offering content that may not be your cup of tea, but is Billy Ray Joe's cup of tea over here, what's the sensible, productive thing to do? Hey man, I don't really like discussionary content. I would rather watch 4-star clears only. So I only watch these 3 creators for the 4-star clears, but I know of the other creators who do discussionary content, which are like these 8 people over here. Here are the 8 people that you should watch that will give you what you're looking for. Awesome. That's how you do that. That's the perfect way to do that. Notice how I didn't tear any of the 8 creators down. I didn't include any of my personal bias as to why I like or don't like these creators or even support these creators. I recognize that they do a thing for the community and it's good for whatever brand they're building. And hey, you can go over here and look at that. Dope. You move on. That's it. That's it. But I'm going to wrap it up here. Y'all let me know y'all's thoughts and opinions. Smell you later.